There's been a hot topic debate going around recently when it comes to echoes within Wuthering Waves. Of course, if you've been looking around a little bit, you have seen the controversy between the 44111 echo setup and the 43311 echo setup. And what I plan to do here is to just give a bit of insight into this as to not only which one has a higher damage ceiling, but also which one has a more time efficient ceiling. Without further ado, my name is Quayver, and let's talk about echoes. With this debate, I've seen one metric being brought up more than any other, and that is maximum damage ceiling when it comes to the 44111 or the 43311 strategy. And while that has already been fully fleshed out and talked about, there's also another thing that needs to be considered when it comes to this, and that is the time it takes to go and farm your 4-4 or your 4-3-3. So if you are just here for the very quick TLDR, let me give that to you very quickly. To put it very simply, if you are worried about skill and damage ceiling, 44111 is lower than 43311. 43311 is higher, 44111 is lower. The margins aren't insanely crazily different, however, that is the truth. When it comes to actually getting the full setup for any character that you are worried about getting, 44111 takes significantly less time to maximize than 43311. Time ceiling is lower for 44111, 43311 time ceiling is higher. Now, if you want to go more into details than just the TLDR, we're going to get into that right now. Now, I'm not one that knows the damage calculations by heart. There's massive sheets delivered by hundreds of other like CCs and people going around talking about it. Reddit, Twitter, Discord, whatever you may have. Now, if you want to get a full in-depth detailing guide about why 43311 is stronger and has a higher potential maxed out ceiling than 44111, I would highly recommend checking out this video from Maggie. It goes into great detail about it. She has a bunch of spreadsheets going throughout all of it. It is very good, very detailed, and also pretty short and easy to understand. So if you want to go into those calculations, please go and check out her channel. What I personally want to cover is the amount of time that it takes, because even in that video from her that I saw that's all about the damage difference, it's a bit different to talk about the time difference that it would take between all of them. So I just wrote out a quick little formulation, a couple of quick formulas so that we could just see how long it really takes to maximize this and why in the short term 44111 really does have a lot more advantages than 43311 when it comes to maximizing you having 3 different teams for Tower of Adversity. It's one of those things where 44111 is going to be very good for you early on, and then as time goes on, you hit month 3, month 4, month 6, 43311 is going to be the maximum ceiling of what you want to go and hit in the long run. But we're still only 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks into the game right now, and having that alternative of 44111 is actually quite good, especially for people that don't have time to play all the time, every single day, things like that. So let's get into the numbers real quick. This is something that I wrote out just to break down exactly what you're going to get between 44111 and 43311 when it comes to the echo, the probability of a drop, as well as what you're going to get dropped on them. So going through this real quick, you see in 44111 we are ignoring the ones in all of them, and we are just talking about the 3 costs. I'm not in this, I'm not even taking into account this 4 here. I'm only talking about the 3 costs from this or the 4 costs from this. So when you go and you farm a 4 cost echo, there are only 6 main stats that you can get. It is attack percent, HP percent, defense percent, crit damage, crit rate, and then healing bonus. There is a 2 pity on echo drop rate when it comes to the 4 cost echoes, which means that as long as you kill one boss, go to another one, and then go back, you're guaranteed to get that drop. How this looks into a mathematical formula is very, very simple, but after both looking at the fractional and the decimal point, you see that the likelihood of you getting the exact 4-star the 4 cost echo with the main stat that you want is 0.083 repeating. This is a decimal. You convert to a percentage, it's 8.3 repeating % likelihood for you to get exactly what you want on that echo. So let's just write that out real quick. It's 8.3% when you convert the decimal into the percentage. Now, in the 43311, it changes a bit. There are 10 main stats that you can get from these echoes. It is attack %, HP %, defense %, energy regen, and then the 6 damage types in the game. I believe it's Glacio, Fusion, Spectro, Havoc, Arrow, and Electro. That's the last one, Electro. So those are the 10 main stats that you can get from your 3 costs. Now, unlike with the 4 costs, you have a potential to get the main stat you want, but the 3 cost echo, you get drops for a completely different set for your set bonuses, which in this setup of 43311 and 44111, we are trying to get the 5 set bonus. So that means that there's already a possibility that drops the main stat you want, but it's an off piece, as in it goes to a different set completely, and it is absolutely useless. I'm sure there has been many times where you finally get the Glacio damage bonus that you want on that wolf guy, and then he has a Havoc set, and then you just have to trash it because it's absolutely useless. There's a 4 pity echo drop on the 3 cost echoes, which means that you could kill up to 4 before you get a guaranteed drop. How that looks like in a formula is just like this in fractions and percents, and then it's 0.0125, which is 1.25% likelihood of you getting the exact echo that you are looking for. We'll write that out as well, 0.25%. Now, when you are looking at this in retrospect, when it comes to the likelihood of the drop, after compiling, 8.3% to 1.25%, you are 6.6664 times more likely to get the 4 costs that you want over the 3 cost per kill of a monster. Okay, not per drop, per the time you kill the monster. Both of these also have, there's also the 20% likelihood that you get the drop early, that accounts for both of these. However, since the 20% is equalized between both of them, we're not counting that in the calculation, but if you want to, the numbers might be slightly differently. But there you are 6.6, so basically rounding up 7 times more likely to get the 3 costs that you want, or to get the 4 costs you want per kill compared to the 3 cost. That means if you spend 1 hour echo grinding just for cost bosses for a specific character, like Calc, like Yinlin, like any Havoc character, like any energy regen character, you can spend 1 hour potentially getting what you want. In equality, if you spend that amount of time, or you want the same amount of drops as for the 3 cost, you will have to spend upwards of 6 to 7 hours of grinding. This is why this whole debate started in the first place, in my personal opinion, because while the damage ceiling is lower, you're saving 6 hours of your time grinding this out. And then that's just for 1 hour's example. You equate that to 10 hours of 4 cost grinding, you are now saving 60, 50 hours of grinding. Because let's be honest, we all get unlucky. I personally have been playing this game for weeks, and I have a singular 3 cost that is a thunder on the thunder set, which is ridiculously painful. Because another thing you have to keep in mind with all of this is that it will save you time grinding to get just the main stat of what you want, only the main stat. There is still a heavy possibility that you put it up to +5, +10, +15, and it rolls the subsets you want, and then you have to trash it. So if you have to trash 1 out of 5, let's just say 1 out of 5, you trash 80% of what you get because it doesn't roll the same subsets. That means you are spending 5. Yeah, it's just, that means that you are putting so much more time into getting your 3 cost echoes. Because if it takes you 1 hour to get, let's just use this as an example. It takes you 5 hours. You get 5 of the crit damages. one of those rolls what you want, you're good. You're done. You have to spend about 25 to 30 hours to get the 3 cost echo that you want 5 times. One of them rolls what you want. Good, you're done. But you're not actually done. This is just an even thing, because you have to still keep grinding those mobs, because you need 2 of them with the 3/3 in order to drop on the set that you want with the substats that you need. Putting all of this together, it is so much more time efficient to go 4-4-1-1-1 than 4-3-3-1-1. Everyone is talking about damages, the ceiling, how the max damage works, how 4-4-1-1-1 is not as good as 4-3-3-1-1. Obviously, we all know that. We all understand that the damage isn't good enough. The damage is not as high because you need crit rate and crit damage to maximize, whereas you just can get the fusion % bonus damage. And then it multiplies together and you get more damage out of it. We get that. But if you have to spend 6 times as much time to get that per character, per echo, you are going to be spending a ridiculous amount of time doing this. So if you already have to do that for your Glacio set, for Sanhua, and then your Arrow set for your Jianjin, or your energy regen or healing bonus set for your Verena, then maybe it's okay that for our Havoc Rover, for our Danjin, for our Calcharo, for our Yinlin, that we go 4-4-1-1-1 to save those hours of time when we already have to grind up 8 other characters for a total of 9 for 3 teams. Like, maybe it's okay to do this. So when you're really going into this, damage is important, obviously, but you need to really consider how your time is going to go into doing all of this, because your time means everything, especially if you can only spend 1 hour a day to play, because we're not all, insane CCs that can spend a huge amount of time always playing the game. Sometimes like we have to go to a real job. Even though I personally am doing content, it is completely as a hobby. I still have to wake up and grind a 9 to 5 basically, and we just don't have the unlimited amount of time. People like Fob, people like Smack, people like Tectone, MTash, all the big CCs that this is like their primary living. Well, maybe not Gacha Smack because he also does the physical training, but they could spend all this time grinding these echoes and it's fine. But we don't have that time. So when you're seeing these people talk about, you should only do 4-3-3-1-1, like I think his name is Tenha or Tenha, and how he's saying that that's the only way that you should really go, or that's the primary way you should go. Absolutely. After months of playing, after months of grinding, yes, that is what you should do. But in the beginning, when you're just trying to get your teams up and running, so that you have something to carry you through the marathon before you spend all that time grinding, don't feel bad about 4-4-1-1-1. It will save you so much time when you need to push other things, when you need to build up so many other teams. And that's not even accounting for the fact that your 3 cost echoes have a daily limit and your 4 cost echoes do not. You can kill bosses forever. You can eventually run out of 3 cost echoes to farm per day. Just keeping it real. Another thing, if you remove the Echo Pity Drop from time to run around and time to kill equalizing, this is still the difference. Now, this is basically me going and saying, okay, time it takes to go between, let's say that we take away the 2 Pity Echo Drop and the 4 Pity Echo Drop, basically. Because obviously you're going to be able to kill the 3 stars a bit faster. But you're also going to have to run between them, and depending on how spaced they are, you might spend more or less time. So we are averaging it out to be about equalized. The difference is still 8.3% to 5%. So the likelihood does go down to 1.666 times more likely to get the 4-star than the 3-star, which does look a lot better. But before, it was per kill. This is per echo drop. When the echo drops and you collect it, you're 1.66 times more likely to get the 4-star cost than the 3-star cost that you want. This is still a huge amount of time sink going into it, depending on how long you can play and how much time that you can sink into it. That is my only point here. We all know the damage. Look at the Miyagi video. If you want to go at the damage really, really intensely, we all understand that 4-3-1-1-1 is stronger in a vacuum overall. But when it comes to your time, the amount of time that you spend, think about spending it wisely. And if you really need to really sink so much of that time into 43111 compared to your 44111, because even this, the much closer variable, still has the chance of getting subsets that are absolute garbage that you have to throw away anyway. That's all I wanted to say. But that's going to take us to the end of the video. Did you learn something? Do you think I'm crazy? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that fancy stuff, and I will see you all in the next video. God fucking damn, she's so fucking hot. Anyways, peace.